Hi guys. All right. I've been toying with this, what I call butt breathing. Can't call it butt breathing, but when the system breathes, I totally realize the diaphragms, all of that. Okay, here's my whole putting together with milestones. Baby's first milestone is the breath. Now the breath needs to go through the whole system. So it's a system breath. Very similar to what happens with what we call a pulse, spinal pulse, circulatory pulse, but it's a breath, that expansion. That's what sets up muscle tonus. That hit has to happen for the muscles to know what to do, in a sense, from the inside out. So it's not about an exterior force creating muscle mass, but the actual quality or tone of muscle happens with this oppositional force that happens to here, right? Or actually goes through a baby's whole body. So when you look at a typical baby, right, they first will have that breath, right? So that has to set up that expansion like that. So you'll see the legs actually go away. So it's actually hard for me to breathe like a baby first would. So then they'll start to move. We look at this as muscle based, but what I've said, no, it's not. What they're doing is oppositional breath, creating this countering. Now at this point, very similar like getting ready to sing a song, that couple of beats that happen, the eyes are still chilling, getting used to this, and they're just countering to this kind of breath. Okay, now vision starts to come into play. Oh, I'm looking. When that happens with the vision, that's got to be when ATNR starts to happen, right? Because I'm looking, and then, so all of this starts to happen. Again, the system starts to go beyond. So you'll start seeing the reach. The reach has to be able to happen when that breath is able to function at that way, right? And then, as I've taught you, rolling over is not muscle based or whatever, but it's the rise of the belly. The belly, so now we're getting oppositional breath here, right? So the belly's doing all of that, the belly. And this will continue to milestone based off of this function, right? So even when I go to sit up, right, it's the rising. So this is where this buoyancy comes in, all of these kind of moves. When I always say, when you touch a newborn, they touch you back. All of these things happen. We start to systemize that, but that has to happen. So now when you have a low tone baby, what happens to the breath? You have retraction, let's say. Right? Do you see where the cycling is off and the muscles almost don't get that kickstart and stuff? So when they go to try and roll over, it's looked at as a low tone, right? But it's also the breath is doing this to do that. And you have the same thing with the vision. The vision almost is getting sucked in. So when I try to sit up, right? See the difference in what it does to my muscle tone? So it's not that I need more muscles to do this. If I breathe and I can do this, right? But again, that's what I've been saying is the weight transfer, which is the same principle, but it all has to go around this system breath. So when I'm a high tone kiddo, what do you see? The breath is actually doing this. I always say picking up the pelvis, you're starting to see muscles, right? But again, I'm not setting up that system breath. So now what happens is I start getting more, as I go out, you'll see more of these movements here because that breath isn't happening. So now we can milestone the way that the system breathes. See, even these kind of movements, right? When I'm playing with my feet, right, what happens? Again, my system is breathing. It's not that I'm just here and I'm stuck. So that's why I have that flexibility and can do all of these things, because I really know how to use these principles. And that's what you see too in the aging, all of that kind of stuff. It's harder for people to reach. And they think, oh, because they're not reaching here. So I know there's more to do it than just this video, but do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's where it comes into. So when I go to look, see how my eyes, so we can do all of that off the vision milestones, off the fine motor skills, the gross motor skills. But if you don't breathe right, and this is why surgery is so rough, especially with people that are aging, because it fucks with this whole mechanism. Especially when it's fear-based, all of that kind of stuff, you start going into, you have issues, and that's where you start getting terminology like flexion and inflection. Let me know what you think.